go, and it's always a good episode when Charlotte's smiling before we start, because that means we've done some good. It means we've done good preparation, Charlie.
What are you trying to say?
It means we're organised. We're not going to just wing it. We're actually going to make the guests feel special. We're going to keep them smiling, and we've got, for the first time, we've got someone from a fantastic independent builders merchants. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners to the Foyne Jones Show, thanks for following my podcast. Today we're welcoming Carl Battle into the studio. How you doing, Mr. Battle?
Good, you?
I'm fantastic, mate. Decent journey along the south coast for you, I'd imagine.
Hour and 45.
That's all right, less than what we expected.
Only one service station.
Yeah, it's not very nice. Yeah. Did you partake?
No.
No, okay, straight through.
Yeah, have it all the way.
Hardcore, mate, hardcore. So, today we're going to get to know Carl. We're going to talk about your builders merchant's career. And, you share the little bit of where it began and how that journey started. You may or may not bring some of that into play, but we'll get to know you as a person, talk about the highlights, the rewards, and also where the challenges are, because you can't be in this industry and not face challenges, and it's how you take them forward. Then, because she's promoted herself, we're going to do Charlotte's quickfire quiz in the first half of the show, because she asked. So there you go. So Charlotte's quiz, she's got a few questions she's prepared, which are going to dive into your experience and advice to your younger self, maybe, and things like that. And then we're going to talk about something which was very, very passionate, and it was very driven. It's a message you put out to your team in the industry, and we'll do that. And then, can't be my podcast, Mr. Battle. It cannot be the Foyne Jones Show without some football banter. We've had a couple of Saints fans on over the years. We have. Shout out to Paul Crowe of Ripples. He's a lifelong Saints fan. And shout out to Ian Penny of Direct Online Services. He's another Saints fan. So it'll be a Southampton hat-trick when we talk about your love of all things Saints. And we're call that section "Oh When the Saints."
Yeah, okay.
Just for you, all right?
It's been tough, though.
It's been tough, but listen, I'm a Fulham fan, right? Charlotte's a Fulham fan. We won't talk about Hula because he's a gooner over there, right? So, he's sitting comfortable. We just roll with the punches at Fulham, don't we, Charlotte?
Yeah, he's quite a glory hunter, I would say, Charlie is.
Charlie the glory hunter. Oh, there you go. So, and then, because it's the time of the year, we're in January, we're looking at a new year, we're going to talk about what 2026 is going to look like for you and your team and the wider merchant industry. You up for that, mate?
Yeah, well up for it.
All right, and we're going to have some fun along the way. So, Carl, for the uneducated, introduce yourself. Tell the listeners who you are and what you're doing now.
So, I am Carl. I began my career in B&Q, and actually, if I go back a bit further than that, I was a Saturday boy at John Lewis for Christmas.
Oh, never knowingly undersold.
Never knowingly undersold. Yeah. Well, there's a bit on that later on. And found myself just stuck in retail. Yeah. And went all the way through a sort of management journey, and ended up as a store manager for Lidl. And I loved it. And people say, "Oh, I bet that's hard work," and it's graft.
What's all the lawnmowers and stuff in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah. One day you're putting out pork and veg, and the next day you're putting out lawnmower. But I loved it. I loved the pace of it. But you have that cliche. No 2 days are ever the same. Yeah. But it didn't stretch you because you're just an executor. Yeah. Yeah, here's the plan, go and deliver it. Here's the plan, go and deliver it. And I had a phone call one day from Travis Perkins to go and see them, and went for a coffee. Really enjoyed the chat. Different level of chat in merchant to what I'd experienced in retail.
Very different.
Yeah, almost takes you back. Well, okay. And ended up at Travis Perkins, taken over from a BM who'd been there for 30 years. In Chichester, so he was retiring. What stage of your life are you hearing? So this is like, age-wise. Yeah, 24. Yeah, so early mid-20s. So the beginning of your career, really, in respect, and you changed industries. That's bold. And to me, I've always gone. We just deal with people because it doesn't. My approach has never changed. We're selling different things to different people, of course, but at the heart of it, there are people that work for you, and there are people that are buying the stuff that you're selling, and I loved it, but I felt like a fish out of water. Like the first 3 months at Travis Perkins, I'm going, don't know whether I'm cut out for this, but all you need is someone to take a chance on you, don't you? Yeah. So for me that was Dan Beresford. Just went, there you go, there's the branch, and I loved it. And then I ended up moving to one of their bigger branches, and that was fun because that was literally just before the pandemic. So I'm in a new branch, with this thing that no one really understands, and everyone's terrified, and you're not only dealing with business expectation, but you're dealing with everyone's emotion around what the pandemic was. And then I suppose get towards the end of that year, had a phone call and went to join Elliott's.
Amazing. Amazing.
And wasn't looking for the move, but there was an opportunity to go and run a branch on my doorstep. So born and bred Southampton. Do you want to come run our Southampton branch? Yeah, I'd love to.
You told me you used to walk past it all the way to football.
Embarrassingly, I'd never heard of them. Never heard of them. So I've grown up in Southampton my whole life, and they've been there 180 years now. We've been going.
You just walk around with your eyes closed.
I was just so focused on how much we were going to lose by.
I'm from Fulham, and I've heard of them.
Yeah, loved it. Yeah. Joined Elliott's in January 2021, and it's been a journey. Almost ran Southampton for 18 months, 2 years, and then took on a head of customer experience role. And then in May 23, took on the board role of running our branches, and then more recently in the last 3 months have taken our external sales force on as well.
And that's so that if you look at that journey, so because from going back to like your school, college days and everything like that, you're not going to envisage that kind of diversity. And coming into the builders, so going from a retailer like Lidl, which is a good retailer by the way, it works because I went in there for a loaf of bread, a pint of milk, come back with a mini fridge. Didn't want a mini fridge, don't need a mini fridge. I don't have a mini fridge, but it was there, and I fancied it, so I bought it. I'm like the dream customer, aren't I? Do you know what I mean? I'm the dream customer. Yeah. So you go into Builders Merchant and you think, right, well, Builders Merchant could get their merchandising better because they can get impulse buys like that. Yeah. But you've had to kind of acclimatise yourself to the trade customer. And the trade customer gets a bit demonised, right? And I think it's very unfair because they're normal fellas as well, normal boys and girls, same as anyone in this room. Was that tough initially to get into that type of trading and mentality? Because they're by nature quite disorganised. Everyone wants first drop. It's always on you. So coming into the retail store, which is it's merchandise, it's there, it's got its price points. Into can I have a deal on this, mate? What can you do there? How did you find that?
There's no book for it. Yeah. So your first point was like the transition into the industry. I don't think anyone leaves school, college wishing to sell bricks and sticks for a living. And then you get into that customer base. But you have I think this is, we'll come on to it later on, the depth of relationship that you have with your customers that you don't have anywhere else, I've ran supermarkets, DIY stores, and, but you'll only see a customer once every 3 months in DIY. You'll see them weekly, but you won't know them in a supermarket. But you know your customers in a merchant really well. And you'll be successful if you've got brilliant relationships with your customer. It's so understated, and I think a lot of other merchants have almost lost that. And we'll get on, I think, later on to talk about people in the industry and what that looks like going forwards. But trying to find good people that just care about the customer, because you don't actually need to know too much about what you're selling. You just need to know that you can do it and have the right attitude to it.
It's a big fact, though. I mean, I share that in some of the talks I do, and when I'm just around people and networking and talking to youngsters, and that is that I went all the way up from the yard to the dizzy heights of sales director at a very young age, and if I had to say what I was good at, product knowledge was never anywhere near the top half. It was always bottom, but I was good with people, so I knew within the environment I was in there was someone who understood insulation, someone who understood timber, someone who understood landscaping. So I lent on that experience and used it for my benefit. That I found easy because it was personality led. And you mentioned personalities. There's some amazing personalities in the merchant industry, both inside the merchant branches and outside of the branches in the environment itself. So you must enjoy that, especially being where you are now, where there's the history of trading, there's the relationships there, isn't there?
Yeah, and do you know that the personality is what makes a branch, right? So that culture that you have, that is really set by the branch manager, not the business. I will talk about how I want things to be, but the culture's with the BM and that team, and the guy who might be a bit strange, but there's a whole group of customers here that love him. Yeah, the guy who for whatever reason, doesn't know anything about what she's talking about, but everyone queues up for her. And so much of it is about how you show up. You do what you say you're going to do. You build loyalty. And I've got this belief, and it could be naive, that no one comes to work to do a bad job. So you start with that. And the world is your oyster because you stop blaming people. Things will go wrong. Yeah, but if I will always look for, and we've had this conversation loads of times when we've been working on assignments, but I don't really care too much for knowledge. But if you've got an idiot in the room and someone who rubs people up the wrong way, then I don't want them in my team, and my BMs won't want them in their team. And you've got to weed that out fiercely and just go and recruit good people that care with personality. We're not robots yet. Whether that changes.
So that's one of the criticisms I have of the wider builders merchant industry at the moment. If I look back to the passage of play where I grew up and where I learned and was mentored and grew, I was surrounded by amazing personalities. Some were fiery, some were aggressive, some were funny, some were driven, some were focused, others were very slow and consistent and real consistent performers, because you need them.
Yep.
You need the whole mix. What's worried me, and I think it's changing, but for a long time I was worried because I saw personalities leaving, personalities retiring, not being replaced, and it becoming quite stale.
Yep.
And that's a challenge, because if we look at the future of the industry, we've got to be attracting talent and talking about building on success, which is the whole theme of this series. We've had a whole podcast series on Stars of the Future. We've got to do more to attract people in, and that's something I think you're doing really, really well. And we're going to explore that in more detail. But current position, going into the new year where we are now in January, what are you looking to? What are you expecting over the next few months?
So I think expecting from outside factors nothing. We had a budget in November that didn't do much for us at all. So I don't think we're going to get too much help from central government there. If I just for Elliott's, we're just taking a slightly different approach, and we are fiercely independent. We've got no ambition whatsoever to play like some of the nationals. But if we just look at ourselves and go, what would it really take to unlock business and unapologetically find the thing that needs to be important for the customer, because you go back to the conversation we was just having about depth and strength of relationship. Our account managers only have 50 customers on their ledger. And we know all of our competitors have got 150, 250, 300.
I mean, as an ex-sales rep, as an ex-key account rep, as an ex-sales manager, and as an ex-sales director, you only call on 20% of your customers anyway regularly. They're the ones that make the magic happen.
Yep.
So if you've got a manageable amount, you're going to get to know them more intimately. You're going to actually be in danger of building successful relationships, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the thing that we're unapologetically getting after. We want as much share of a customer's wallet as we can possibly get.
You said that to me last time we worked together, and I loved that. And that's what we're going to come back to when we talk about something I noticed on LinkedIn, which is one of the, not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons you're here in the studio today, because it just stood out and I loved it. But the real star of the podcast is Charlotte, right? She's head of content at Foyne Jones. Effectively, the role means she's my boss. That's really how it plays out. Isn't that right, Charlotte?
Maybe.
Would you agree with that, Hula? No comment from the producer over there. Charlotte, I know you've got a few questions for Carl.
Yes.
So, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Charlotte's Quickfire Quiz. I'm going to ask you a few questions. And yeah, here we go. So, what hobbies do you actually get up to in your spare time? Like to de-stress and stuff like that?
Well, I don't do stress. So
You don't do stress.
I don't stress.
How'd you do that?
Oh,
Well, he's not
give
leaving.
me the formula. I need that.
You need that, Charlotte.
Yeah, I really do.
So in the summer last year, I started playing paddle, which is like the fastest going. Do you play?
High five, mate. Yes.
Do you play?
Yes, mate.
We could have had a game
I
today.
play Hove Lawns, mate. Yeah.
Oh,
we
you
guys
know
should
I play,
have a
Charlie.
We should get a game. We should get a pitch.
We're gonna have a go. Yeah, we're gonna have a go.
Let's do it.
So yeah, we played paddle a bit.
Great game.
And then I joined a gym in August.
Nice.
And I do spin 3 times a week.
Yeah, I'm not coming spinning with you, mate. We can have a game of paddle.
Yeah. So yeah, that and then consuming as much football as I possibly can in a week. Yeah.
Fair enough. I can't lie. I do the exact same thing. I play football and I watch football as much as I can.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's a piece of advice that you would give to your younger self? Probably maybe like starting off within the builders merchant industry.
Don't worry about it. It'll be all right, because it always is.
Yeah.
The amount of times I see people obsessing and stressing over insignificant stuff, and certainly when you look back on it, it's insignificant. Just don't worry about it. It will be all right.
Powerful. Honestly, I think you should write a book because I need to hear your advice more and more.
Carl is available for one-to-one mentoring sessions via Foyne Jones.
You should be a life coach.
Yes, 500 quid an hour. Yeah.
And the last question is, please give me 3 words to describe Elliot's.
Honest, reliable, caring.
Good words.
Well, that's really nice, actually. And when I look at the history of the business from the outside in, and I'm only, if you like, a spectator from the outside in. Honest, reliable, and caring. That doesn't surprise me to hear that because of what customers say and what suppliers say, but the way you kind of just said that, it really does go with the business. So fair play. Yeah. Good question, Charlotte.
Yeah, thank you so much for answering my questions.
You get some consistency with this quiz now, aren't you? All right, okay. So, Charlotte, thank you so much. So, where we are now, and this is important we share that because I was joking before saying that sometimes LinkedIn bores me. Now, just to put Charlie Hula right, I passionately love LinkedIn. I passionately believe in LinkedIn. I invest a lot of my time into having a presence and an opinion and a personality on LinkedIn. This podcast was born from LinkedIn content, and now it stands on its own two feet, and we have fantastic sponsors that help us put the show together. Shout out to Dave Blitz and the wonderful team at ET Clay. We will want to sell you bricks. That's what he does. He loves selling bricks. But I saw something that you put out. You had your team together, and you put it out, and it was very much, it had a football chant to it, there was a culture to it, and it was Elliot's Builders Merchants, we're going to win. And I'd love to end the first half of the podcast just, Carl, by you bringing that to life. Like, where did that come from? What's the thought process behind it? And more importantly, how's the troop? How are the guys and girls in the trenches taking that mentality?
So, how did it come about? It won't surprise you. We've worked together a few times. I don't overthink things too much. And if you think about the last couple of years, so 2023, 24, and then this year, it's been a little bit sluggish, and it's not quite been a recession, but we're certainly we're at risk of going, poor little old me, isn't it? Isn't it very difficult out there? Tough market, and it's just really boring. And if you think about your own life and the troubles that you go through, the same's true in business, yeah. So has it been tough? Yes, it's been tough. But when I talk to customers, all I see is opportunity and an opportunity to do more. And the more time you spend talking about how rubbish things are, it's just self-fulfilling. And it's like a snowball effect. Just spin that narrative. So if we start talking about winning and what would it feel like to win? And we took the guys away and we just spent a day and a half talking about all the things that need to be true in order to win. What are the relationships that we need to have internally, externally? How well do you need to know your customer? What are the barriers in the way? And are they really real? Are they real barriers? Because in my mind, the only thing I really can't control weather. I can't control what the government does. But beyond that, anything's in play. And then almost just taking all of that together and trying to get them to realise that the impossible is possible. is really how we finished it. So you think we can't, but we can. And I know we can because there's others doing it. And that unapologetic approach to, are you up for this? Yeah. And are you up for thinking outside the box a bit? You know, we're a small enough business that we can do whatever the hell we like. We can do what we like. But you have to find the thing that the customer wants. And you have to get out of your own way. Because if you just worry about what's been before, you're done. You know, you do what you've always done, you get what you've always got, yeah? So it was just changing the narrative. And I've got 2 brilliant teams. I've got a brilliant team of account managers and branch managers, and they're well up for it. And we've got evidence already that just on the back of talking about it, because the knowledge is in that room. I ain't a salesman. Not a salesman at all. You self-sound to the Arabs, but...
Thank you, Carl.
Well, you've had me a few times.
Oh, here we go.
But I'm not a salesman. But I know that people buy from people, and I've known that since day one. When I joined the industry, people buy from people. I've got good people will buy from them, and there's a load of things that we could do. And we're just going to do some cool stuff. We're going to do some cool stuff in 26.
Fantastic, mate.
I'm convinced of it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good. Do you know what? It's so fantastic to hear from a leader in the industry who's kind of who's come from outside the industry first and foremost. Do you know what I mean? Because historically, picking people up from FMCG, from different areas of retail, and parachuting them into the builders merchant arena, it's failed miserably. You know, and that's not I always used to think that, but that's not that person's fault. They've just not got the love. They haven't been given the time. They haven't been given the ability to learn and to do. Because I learnt loads off good retailers because they did so much better than we did. And they genuinely did do it better. But you've actually joined a national, been successful, joined a very successful independent, gone into a position now where you're leading a team of account managers, a team of branch managers, and you're making a difference. So do I believe, to end the first half of the podcast, do I believe Carl Battle and his team are going to win? I think you're going to do better than most, mate. I think you're going to definitely edge it, and I think you're going to win, because if you give people the empowerment and you take away all the things that stop them trading and let them have fun, let them go to work, you're going to get great results. That is a brilliant way, Carl, and articulately, brilliantly put. We're going to end the first half of the show on that with Carl Battle of Elliott's Builders Merchants, and we're going to win. Charlie, Charlotte, we'll see you after the break. Thank you so much for being part of the show, Carl.
Thank you.
When it comes to bricks, there's only one company to speak with. ET Clay have something for every brick project. With over 400 products across our 2 depots, we are the Builders Merchant Brick Merchant.
Welcome back to season 9 of my podcast, The Foyne Jones Show. It's episode 9. And we've been learning about Carl Battle's not just your builder's merchant journey, but your life journey, really. You know, you've shared where it started. We've learned where it is now, and we know you play a bit of paddle. I play a bit of paddle. Me and my missus play a bit of paddle. Great sport. Yeah, absolute great sport. We'll have a game of paddle, all right? But something else we have to talk about. Let's get it right out there, and I'll give it some context. I've seen Fulham lose at the Dell. And I've seen Fulham lose at St Mary's. I've seen Fulham win at the Dell, and I've seen Fulham win at St Mary's. It's when the Saints. We're going to do some Foyne Jones football banter, and we're going to talk about Southampton. Lifelong fan, mate?
No.
What do you mean, no?
I started... I was actually a Gooner.
Hello. There we go. Come on. Now this is interesting. Charlie's back.
Yeah, so I started as an Arsenal fan until I was... probably in secondary school.
Right, okay.
And realised that accessing the Emirates, or actually it was Highbury at the time, wasn't it? It just wasn't feasible. And
it's quite a long journey from where you are, isn't it?
Yeah, I switched to Saints after that, and it's been a roller coaster of pain and fun. You know, if I think the year that we got promoted was at 22, back to the Premier League, and then to get relegated again. So this is the first season I've not had a season ticket in about 14, 15 years. It was so bad at the end of last year.
I know. No, I've got quite a few people from business and socially who are Southampton fans, and it was some dark time on it. I feel, and I've been through this so I'm a Fulham fan from the 4th division to where we are now, but we went through that yo-yo time where we got ourselves up in the Premier League and spectacularly wasted all our money and went straight back down. And I think that there's nothing worse than that when you know you're not gonna, everything's against you, and you just know. And I was listening to what you're talking about, your management style. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking they might need you in the dressing room at the Dell. You know?
Do you know
have they got a new manager yet?
No, we've still got a caretaker manager.
Okay. I mean, that's not ideal, is it?
No, but I mean, he's won more games than we've won all season.
Okay. Because he came like the last manager. So he came from doing a reasonable job in France and whatever, and kind of unproven. I remember watching him on the telly. I can't remember what it was the Pompey game. So I watched that one. It was I don't want to bring it up, but I watched that. So I thought that's a good game. I watched that. It's, his atmosphere. There's rivalry, and I thought, oh, you're giving it large, mate. You haven't really done that much.
This was the Monday Night Football.
Yeah, that's it.
Where I think there was already an excitement building about him. This young guy approaches things a little bit differently. There's a couple of things going around on social media about the way that he talks to players, bilingual. And he came in, he spoke well, but just didn't quite work for him. Bit of a fish out of water, I think. Yeah. But we got a deeper problem. Southampton have got a deeper problem at probably ownership and board level, to be honest with you. It is not well run. We continue to throw good money after bad, and we roll the dice really quick. I mean, the year we went down, we had 4 managers, so you imagine doing that in our game. We have 4 managers in a year, and you won't get consistency.
But it's so, I remember in my sales director days at Jewson, you're talking to some of the biggest customers, biggest players in the London market, and they're going like, do you know what I mean, Jones? It's great you saying this, but like we've had 4 different sales reps and 4 different branch managers and 2 different ones of you. Like we don't know who you are, and I'm like, I can't change that, but I can, And again, it was going back to what you said. It's about I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I think from spinning that onto football. There has to be a leader. There has to be a decision made. Southampton are a good club. They've got good fans. It's a club part of its community. I've always liked that about it. And I think I've got memories of Lettice and even before that in the 80s. When you had Keegan running around, and there was some panache there in that club.
Yeah,
there was, wasn't there?
Yeah,
so who's the best player you've seen in the kit? Or the player that you were like, you embody our spirit.
You can't help but look at people like Gareth Bale, James Ward-Prowse, who's then gone and lost his way a little bit at West Ham. And
we tried to get him at Fulham.
Yeah.
When he went to West Ham, Fulham really wanted him.
Yeah. So, Gabbiadini,
But I remember like Oxlade Chamberlain, like there's so many players come through. Like they're bringing them through so well.
Yeah. And
then Liverpool took them all, didn't they?
Well, yeah. Who was the guy that went to Newcastle, right back? Tino Livramento. We've churned some brilliant players out of the academy.
I mean, he looks outstanding. By the way, he'll be in the England squad.
Yeah. We've had decent success with our academy players and made a load of money, but it feels like it's dried up a little bit. The club's not generating as much revenue as it was through player sales. You need to buy better players to get yourself out of the situation you're in, and you get a little bit, stuck. So, I don't know. I'd love it this year if we could make the playoffs from where we are at the minute.
But you know what? One of the things with the Championship, anywhere where the playoffs are, you've always got a little bit of hope. Because you can go on a run and you can get yourself in there, and then it's all to play for.
After about 15 games, there was 4 points separating 6th from 16th.
Yeah.
So I actually really enjoyed the year that we were in the Championship. That was probably the best year of being a season ticket holder I'd ever had. One, the games come thick and fast, and it's a bit tighter because the Premier League now is basically 4 divisions, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think as well, it is evening up somewhat. You can see, but the Championship's relentless. The Championship, there's nothing better than winning the Championship. Right? Yep. There's nothing better than getting promoted because it's just such an amazing ride. So I look at the promotions Fulham had. When Slavisa got us up and we beat Villa at Wembley. Villa were the favourites. We beat them, but we were at Christmas. We were nowhere, and we went on a 23-game unbeaten run. Missed out by a point on automatic promotion, and then won the playoffs, came straight back down.
Yeah.
Then Scott Parker got us up, right? And we went into COVID, it all went a bit weird, and we missed a chance for automatic promotion, but we won the playoffs at an empty Wembley, which was, we're watching us on the telly. That's a bit weird. Down again. Do you know what I mean? And that's backfired. Silver's come in and we won the championship. We scored loads of goals. Mitro scored 48, 49. Yeah. We won loads of goals and we've stayed there. And that's the challenge. It's actually consolidating up there. We're not quite. See how it plays out. So that's the thing. But I think when I look at Southampton, I'd love to see them buzzing again. At least being amongst it, because the club's got some history there, mate. So are you gonna? Do you believe that with the way the club's being run, that needs to be changed before anything else happens?
I don't know. You think that we was pretty close to going pop altogether? Yeah. We was in administration.
Well, I mean, you went all the way down, didn't you? The points deduction and all the way down.
Yeah, we went down to League One.
Which is the old third division if you do it in old money. Do you know what I mean? That's what, because I still in my mind, because of my age, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and but that's where you've gone, and you don't see that, do you?
No. Does it need to change? Possibly. But
I'll tell you what we will do, and again, I'll do this now. Next time you get a game at Craven Cottage and it involves both our football teams, there's an invitation for you to join me as a guest.
I'll be there.
That I can extend to you right now. It may be in the Cup, it may not be in the Cup, it may be in the League, it may be in the Championship, it may be in the Premier League. But I'll make sure there's an invitation there for you to come and join me at the Cottage.
Appreciate
you ever been to Craven Cottage?
Never.
Well, there you go.
It's impossible to get a ticket there. And you got like a...
I could get you a ticket.
Could you?
Yeah, I can get you a ticket. You're safe with me,
mate. You got
a
box?
No, I don't have a box, mate. No, I've got. We're not in the posh stand with a swimming pool on the roof by the river either. We're in the old wooden stand, mate. The original Johnny. Well, it used to be called the Stevenage Road stand. It's the Johnny Haynes stand now. That's where we are. Wooden seats, old school football.
Happy days.
All right, that's where we are. We'll get you down there, Carl. So listen, thank you so much for that. Before we go on to the future of merchanting, because I really want to get your spin on what a builders merchant branch is going to look like in a few years, what the role of the rep will be in a few years, or the account manager, because I know it's something you're very passionate about.
Yeah.
I want to talk about people we admire, people we respect, and people we'd like to spend time with from history, from the past, even from the future. And if we were sitting down for dinner, and we could have any dream dinner guest, and you could pick 3. I've been asking all of our podcast guests this season to give me who they would invite, and we've had some real surreal invitations. Some you would expect. Who would you be inviting around that table, Carl?
Do you know number 1? Probably Simon Sinek.
Okay.
I love what he does, the way that he articulates what leadership is and what it means.
He does picture it very. It is very good.
Let's sort of start with why. I think just in life, there's a load of people that complicate things, and he's got this brilliant way of making things sound and look and feel simple. And one of the phrases I use all the time is just keep it simple, because the more you overthink things and try and add complexity to it, the further removed you get from what it is you actually want. So he's number 1. Number 2, if I think about the person who's had the biggest influence in my merchant career, is probably Danny Beresford.
Was he coming around with dinner?
I don't know. I'll ask him to sit.
Yeah.
He might tap me up after this. He had a. It's interesting, isn't it? Because there are so many people that I've worked for and with over the years, and so many of them have had an influence on how I show up.
Yeah.
But his was probably the biggest, and I remember.
You don't forget that, though, do you?
No, and do you know what? Interestingly, he probably won't even feel it himself. But he's just got this way about him, which is, well, we're just going to do this. He's really direct and honest, and that's not criticism. Although people associate being direct as a negative thing. I really value people being direct with me. But he helped me and took a punt on me joining this industry when others might not. And I wouldn't
others
be doing this now.
Carl.
No,
others wouldn't.
Right.
I've been fighting corners for people like you from the history of ever, and saying that these people are better.
Yeah.
They are better than what you are considering, and you're taking the easy option. You're employing someone that you think they do it. But if they're doing an average job with average experience, they're going to do that for you.
Yeah.
You give this person a chance and watch them grow. But that's like you said, it's a gamble.
Of course it is.
You've got to back them. You've got to give them time. You've got to believe in them. And more people stick rather than twist. And that's something that, that's what the industry's got to change. Because we want to get the kids in, and we want to get the stars of the future. They don't even have to be the kids. We want to get people from other industries with experience and adding value. Got to open our minds, haven't we?
Agree. Yeah, completely agree.
So that's two. That's 2 seats gone.
Last one's Pep Guardiola.
Oh yeah, he was.
He was in here the other day, was he?
No. He's still recovering from a 9-goal thriller with Fulham before Christmas, mate. He's still getting his head around that one.
You think about what we spoke about earlier in terms of winning. And
passion, intensity, winning. Yeah.
Like,
always want more.
To maintain yourself at the highest level for the length of time that he has, and not let your standard drop. Because you think about.
Danny Beresford's in good company here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all right, isn't he? You think about how hard it is when you get to those slumps throughout the trading year, because we peak and trough. Yeah, we're going to have a good back end of Q1, early Q2. It drops off in the summer, picks up again in the winter. To continue to be on your A game all the time, it's admirable.
Fair play, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. That's absolutely brilliant. So where we are now, I mean, you've mentioned your passion for people, your passion for the industry, and kind of clearing the noise. Just get it calm and let's look at what we have to do.
Yeah.
I look at what the future holds for an industry I love. It's an industry that gave me everything, and there are people on my journey. Some have been in this show, some of them are texting me, when the football's on, and I still call them boss, and there's not many. There's not many I do. One in particular, and another in particular, that I think, why would you give me, a kid from a cancer estate, the opportunities I had? But I took them, made loads of mistakes, kept saying sorry, and kept learning and kept getting on with it. And that's part of how you make things happen. But what are you expecting? Not for this year, but what do you think the future of merchanting looks like for the account managers of tomorrow, the branch managers tomorrow? How do you see it looking, the future landscape?
It's funny, isn't it? Because I don't tend to worry too much about what others are doing. I'm just focused on us. And you use the phrase ripping up the rule book.
Yeah.
And it feels like we're starting that, or we've started it. The old dropping a pen, a mug and a business card in, those days are dead. We have got to get so close to our customers that if they shop with anyone else, it feels like they're cheating on us. So personally, for Elliott's, for the next 5-10 years, I'm really excited, but I don't think that's a feeling that is felt across the industry. I think people are scared of AI, people are scared of disruptors coming into the market. I'm really happy with how we are gonna show up and what we're gonna do. As the wider industry goes, I don't know. Look, we've got a commitment, haven't we, from the government to build 1.5 million homes. Whether that plays out or not, but to say it feels okay. And if we turn some of that into action, then great. But the industry just feels a little bit stale. The same old. We spoke about how do we attract people into the industry from either out of sector or just new into it. And there's just some bravery required. You're going to have to be brave and bold to take a punt on people and things. And the quicker you can accept that the route to being successful is not going to be through selling bricks and sticks, but it's really how do you create a full proposition for the customer. That's the answer is yes. And what's the question? That's success. But I don't know what's around the corner. We've got a lot of disruptors coming to the market. We had the acquisition of Juicens from Stark, and a couple of other biggies continue to be a bit of a needle.
I think the branch model will change as well. I think there's going to be more demand, certainly in some of the bigger cities, for extended hour access, 24-hour access. The use of lockers. There needs to be, I think, because customer dynamics changing, and that I think the merchant industry has to recognise that, and having more products available at different times, and kind of, you know, and again, you could say it's ripping out the rule, but I think it's just using your brain. Do you know what I mean? Because if someone's working through the night and they need to get something and you're shut, they ain't going to buy it off you, are they? So so you've seen some of the models that are really having it away there because no one else is doing it, but actually you've only got to tweak a few things and you can start seeing it different. So I think the future of merchanting will evolve into a way where we need to be embracing AI and we need to be embracing technology, and we need to be bringing a thought process into our trading which gives us the ability to work today. You know, not doing what we did 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 10 minutes ago. What we're going to want tomorrow. How do you learn that? You get close to your customer, and you get close to your customer's customer, because they're going to tell you what they need. Yeah, they are, and they're not shy of that.
We've seen that sort of. I think post-pandemic, people just value their time more. And we've seen that shift in collect trade dropping off, but demand for delivered sales, because people don't want to, you know. You go back to 2019, 2020, you'd have a dozen builders stood around a coffee machine in the morning, and they quite happily pass an hour of the morning, 7:30 to 8:30. But you don't see so much of that anymore. People in and out, they don't want to be out till 6, 7 o'clock at night. They want to be home. And the pandemic done brilliant things, and really, really terrible things. But I think one of the good things that came out of it was how people value their time, and it's forced us to think differently. And yeah, to your point, we're going to have to continue to think differently and be agile, because we're a slow industry. Yeah, we are slow to adapt and adopt new things.
You do realise that. You know, you look at where we're recording this today, and you walk around an environment like this, and you know, and you see the startups and the creators and the businesses that are raising serious funding, and you know, and they're going out there to completely dominate and disrupt markets. We're in a very traditional space, right? Yep. But there is room for our customers. You know, we need more skilled trades. We need to build. You know, ultimately AI can do some of that, but it can't do a lot of that either. And I think the absolute difference for me between success and failure, and I see this continually, the branch manager population that understand their local market and are close to their customers with real relationships, not transactional relationships. I mean, real relationships. They're the ones where it goes that little bit. You get that little bit more. Yep. And you were talking earlier. We talked downstairs about diversifying products. We can all talk about how much we can charge a bag of cement, length 4x2 all day long. Right, yep. I still sell it at 1995 prices. Okay, you know, and I bring it up all the time. That's not what we know. That conversation is always going to go on. Yep. But what about this solution? What about that sustainability? What about the impact there? How can we add the value? That's the quality. That's the quality of the relationship. So, to finish things off, Carl. All right, and I hate to do this, but to finish things off, I want to ask you something. You know, people coming into the builders merchant industry or thinking about joining the builders merchant industry, there's a whole array of career pathways they could go down. You know, we could draw them out here, could do A, B, C, D. Our world's probably not featuring on that top 10, top 20. What would you say to someone who's thinking about joining you in your team and forging a career? What's in it for them?
So what it won't have been for a couple of years is fun. You know, the last couple of years haven't been what you will remember and what I remember when I first joined the industry. But on the whole, it is fun. You're interacting with normal people who care about what they do. You know, and I won't have anyone in our team that doesn't care about what they do, aren't passionate about what they do. You don't have to be the best at it, but you have to try hard.
It's like football, you've got to run more than the other team, first of all. You've got to run more. Yeah. And the rest comes after that. Charlie runs a lot, don't you, Charlie? Box to box, Charlie Hoover. Go on, sorry, mate. But you got to care, you got to make it fun.
Yeah. It is fun. And there's a role that people like me in the industry have to play in making it more attractive, because I think from the outside looking in, it looks like a grubby old industry that's full of white, pale, male, stale men, and it's not that, and it shouldn't be that. But we've got to play a role in, I don't know whether we get into it at a college level, at a school level, and start engaging them early. You know, as a business, we've probably got 15 apprentices working for us at the minute, and with a degree of confidence, they've got a job at the end of that.
I'm such a believer in apprentices. I'm such a believer in it. I honestly, I genuinely believe that, you know, further education, college, university, it's not for everyone, right? And it weren't for me. And I did go to college for a little while, but it weren't for me. But I believe that giving people, a pathway, it just offers rewards.
Oh, agree. And I think that the thing that is niche to the industry that we're in is you have got a job for life if you want it. And if you work hard and you stick with it, it's so rewarding. And not just financially, but that emotional feeling that you get, that sense of fulfillment is there if you want it. And you have got a job for life. We're not going anywhere, are we?
So if you take that and you crystallise that, you're saying that it can be fun.
Yep.
There's progression and a pathway to earn more, be successful, build a future, which is what we all want. And there's a very strong argument to say in some format we're going to be here for a long time to come. That's something that people should be celebrating and should be part of, shouldn't they?
Agree. You've got to argue at the minute in an uncertain world and economy and all of that. It's one of the safest jobs going because we are always going to need to build or maintain or repair the infrastructure that we got.
Absolute quality. Carl, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for travelling over. I think there's 3 things I'm taking out of the podcast. 1, you don't have any stress in your world, which is, there's 4 things actually. One is, Charlotte's going to be out there going like, I want the formula, I want the secret sauce, right? But I think the we're going to win. Honest, reliable, and caring. That's a fantastic way to talk about it. And then if I look at everything else we spoke about, let's make sure we do these 3 things. 1, when we play each other, we'll get to a football game. 2, we will get the paddle rackets out and we will get some paddle going. And 3, come back on this show because it's just so great to have someone who's got a different approach to many of the guests we have on here, who can be kind of quite in your face, quite direct, quite charismatic, where you've got a balance and dare I say, thought-led manner, which I would want to work for you. I would feel empowered. So if you look at the manager, you're not a Pep. You're not a Redknapp or a Fergie. You're more down that Wenger in terms of considered and look at the results you can get. And it just shows that all approaches get results, mate. But you had fun being on the show?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. That was Carl Battle from Elliott's Builders Merchants. He's going to win with his fantastic team. We'll see you on the next episode. And let's see what the future brings in 2026. Charlie Hula, always a pleasure. Shout out to David Blitz and the fantastic team at ET Clay. Season 9, we're building on success and we're doing that because of their support. Thanks for listening.